I now call the Crosby Township Board of Trustees regular meeting to order for January 9th, 2023. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Hyam?
Here.
Mr. Lohman?
Here.
Mr. Heiss?
Yes.
Approval of the minutes for the regular meeting held December 12th, 2022.
I'll make the motion.
I already, as you do, I already noted two typos pointed out by Mr. Lohman before the meeting started, clerical in nature, and I'll fix them. One is the number of, it was stated, it was kind of mentioned that the amount and the real amount of the property tax rebate for Hamilton County was, could be about 10%. I put 20 in the minutes. That was incorrect on my part. And then the one word I think says, I just forgot it. I just mistyped half the word.
Just in the old business about the dry wells, just to add septic, and then it just says to be added onto without instead of with the
That's
dry
right, it
well
was,
being
yeah.
replaced. Just a minor typo. So I have a motion from Chuck.
I'll make a motion after the correction.
Roll call.
Hyam? Lohman?
Yes.
Heiss?
Yes.
And then approval of the minutes for the special organizational meeting held January 2nd, 2023.
I found one mistake. On slide meetings, you got slide 9th, which is the Senate, it should be slide 10th. Yeah, I count here. It probably was slide 9th last year, but
Yeah. They were each dropped down one in number. I must have did it twice. I will correct that.
okay. I make a motion after the correction.
Roll call.
Hyam? Lohman?
Yes.
Heiss?
Yes.
Approval to pay the bills as have been presented over the past month.
I second it.
Roll call.
Hyam? Yes. Lohman?
Yes.
Heiss?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Correspondence, Mr. Hyatt.
Probably everybody got.
Thanks.
Probably everybody received this. The newly elected County Commissioner, Lisa Reese, is the new president, and she's going to have a State of the County address on Wednesday, January 25th at 5:30 at Memorial Hall. And then,
What time was that?
5:30, January 25th. And then I got, probably everybody got this too, was Hamilton County District Advisory Council meeting is March the 14th, and then they would like the president of all the townships to be there, so that would be Doug, and that's supposed to be RSVP'd by March the 1st,
What day is that meeting?
March the 14th.
Thank you.
And then ICRC winter meeting is January the 26th from 5:30 to 7 if you want to take, and I'm the rep for here, but I will be out of town at that point, so I will not be able to go to that meeting. And that's over at the ICRC studio. And then I got an email from Kate Moran. We had to fill out our annual report for the Hamilton County Soil and Water District, MCM6 annual data reporting forms. I gave it to Harry. Harry gave it back to me. I can enter this in online, so I'll take care of that, Harry. And that's all the correspondence I have.
Okay, and me, Dennis hit a few of them. Also, the Hamilton County Local Emergency Planning Meeting is Wednesday the 11th at 9 a.m. at the Hamilton County Education Service Center.
What day was that?
Wednesday the 11th at 9 a.m. And then West JAD meeting was January 5th, which I attended, and Gwen Lawhorn, who's our new rep for this year, also attended. Crosby had to have an extra person this year, so Gwen, who had done it a couple of years ago, agreed to do it again. A few highlights of the meeting would be, let's see, there's an issue mainly with Whitewater Township about whenever they jointly are on a scene of something, about if they should do a joint report or separate report, because they're totally different, two different entities that are there, and there's some issues with liabilities and things with that. So they've had a hard time getting answers. They've contacted a couple attorneys, and they're still kind of waiting on how that needs to be handled. How does that, through Crosby Township, do you do separate?
They do their own report, yeah, separate.
And I don't know if Whitewater was wanting to do them jointly with them. There was some issue there, or maybe they were doing them jointly, and that might not be a good thing, probably.
We can add their names to our report, but they normally do their own report for their records.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I mean, from my professional experience, I mean, those reports have names of people who were there,
right. If something happens or
summaries,
something.
narratives of people who were there, and those need to be, accurate and in theory
Yeah,
be
'cause
able to be testified to.
like she says, you could, in the heat of things, you could write down different things than they would write down, like on someone's heart rate or something like that, and then that could come back as, well,
That comes up sometimes in townships where they have shared policing. Like if a township has its own police force, but then they also contract with the sheriff for additional policing, and it's like, who was there?
who did
You
what?
need to get the different reports. Yeah.
Okay, and then I don't know if anybody knew, there was a Jim Mills. He was a fire chief in Cleves for several years, and then he was on Cleves City Council. He was also an initial West JAD board member and assistant president to Debbie Acre from Harrison. Anyway, he has cancer, and he's at Harrison Trails, and he's not doing too well, but he's really well and in good spirits. So if anybody knows him, you can stop in and say hi to him, because he appreciates seeing people. Other than that, things were pretty much good for them. We went over their appropriations and for their year, and they're financially in good shape. As a lot of people, they have issues. A lot of people are getting a lot of overtime because of lack of help. And they have their two newer vehicles, which are both working good. And then we just discussed a few things about insurance, because I noticed our insurance was going up, I think, 35%. And they gave me a contact who they get their Anthem through, so maybe I'll give that to somebody to look into. And that's all, I think. And then I think I just mentioned that Fernald has weekly programs almost every week open to the public. And that's all I have. Mr. Heiss?
Yes, I got something in the mail. Pipeline response training exercise. We have tested gas line, pipeline in our district, and I think it's every year, every 2 years they have a training. They got 21 different locations. The closest one we got is in the city of Hamilton, January the 17th at 5:30. They give you dinner at 5:30, and the program started at 6 to 7 or 7:30. So they had this in the past. So I know I attended one in the past. So
You have.
yeah. So that one. I got a couple of same things as you have, I guess. I got the Metro in Motion. They had a meeting in October, but they got on video. So we don't really have any bus service up here. We got some in, I guess, City of Hamilton, City of Harrison. I guess still got their bus.
Yeah.
So they had like an annual meeting. So, but that was October. And I put it out in the December newsletters. That make no sense. So, but it is a video if you want to watch it. So, then I got Ohio Township Association Risk Management. This is the window report for 2022, 2023. So this come out, I guess, quarterly. So. And I guess the Board of Health has a meeting at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So, all I have.
Okay, thanks.
Can I mention something, I guess, under Chuck's? Just, I happen to notice it regarding the OTA. I believe that the deadline to register for the winter conference is in a couple days. So if you guys are interested in attending any of those, I know Chuck went last year. I need to look at it because there's some hours I need to do and such related to fiscal officer stuff, and that's one thing in when we got the audit back. That's one thing that all of us need to do better on, and just for formality's sake, and get those some hours, seminar hours in. That's one way to do it. There's other ways to do it too. You know, there's videos you can sign up for and watch and stuff like that.
Yeah, I went to it last year. I went to 4 or 5 of them, I guess, over the years. And Doug went to one, I guess.
I'll be out of town again.
So it's worthwhile. They got pretty good programs, so some of us don't pretend to us, but it's like a 2 days. And if you can't make it one day, you can make it Friday. Seemed like it got the same thing from Wednesday and Thursday. So normally you can go up in one day and cover what you want instead of spending 2 days up there. So.
Okay. All right, guests, Sheriff Lieutenant Stuckey.
All right, so for December, it was a good month for Crosby Township because it doesn't look like we had much. So, and it's not a typo. The 2 reports that were taken in December were taken in December. They just have November dates that they occurred in. So we actually had nothing occur criminally in December, which is very good. So, and then obviously the 2 reports that were taken in December from November were given to our detectives. Neither were closed yet. We had 7 crashes, 1 DUI, OVI arrest, and I'm sorry, I skipped over the whole thing. We had 83 calls for the month. And that is all I have for my report. I'm going to take off after this. So if there's anything, if you need to call me or email me, questions, if you
The only thing I want to point up is you got sent me an email about the New Haven Road and Oxford Road. Somebody thought there was a crosswalk there, and I got an email. You got an email from Jeff Newby, a traffic engineer office.
Correct.
And he said it had pictures before and after that were. I don't know what year it was that New Haven was resurfaced.
Yeah.
But there was never a crosswalk there.
Right, that's what he's.
And he said if you want one, you need to go through like put a ramp there or something and all
Right,
that.
they have to
and-
do ramps and all
and,
kinds of.
There are some people cross there because there's a trailer park behind this church. And I saw a lady walk together, a crosswalk, but it wasn't a crosswalk, but she crossed the road.
Right.
So I don't know if we want to look into that. We need to go through a traffic engineer office to get that done. But
Would you
I
want to
saw,
put a crosswalk in a place that doesn't have a sidewalk?
yeah, and there's
mean,
ramp and everything.
They can cross anywhere.
I
Yeah, so.
think you might want to talk to your attorney about that.
Yeah, so I don't think we, and the lady was mistaken. She thought there was a crosswalk and there was never one there. So, but there are people cross there, but if they're careful, they should be able to cross the road without no problem. So, I don't know if a crosswalk would make much difference.
There's no light there, so it's just a sign,
get-
so that's,
Freeway stop sign. So,
yeah.
So, but anyway, I thought I'd bring it up. So, thank you for looking into it.
Sure.
I actually have a question from our office. When it comes in my turn, I'm going to be inquiring about getting Mr. Trends involved as well. But would you mind checking to see if there were any prosecutions or any further movements in the investigations regarding the fraudulent checks? Just because I know that our issue was connected to another one as well that was known by the sheriff's department. So I'm just curious about that because
Okay.
we haven't heard anything back from the bank yet. But
Okay, but I did send you the email that Detective Manos, didn't I connect you on that? As far as that he's, or maybe it was,
maybe
Okay.
I'll look back.
okay.
I'll look back.
But-
It's been a long time process. So if you've already addressed that, I apologize.
No, I'll address it again, just to see where we're at again.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then Mr. Tim Zellick was supposed to be here from Hamilton County Parks. He's like the main planner, but he's not here, so I will contact him.
I put that on the agenda just assuming
Well, he
because
said he was
wa-
going to be here.
Oh, okay,
so-
okay.
Yeah, he's act like he was going to be
Yeah,
here.
so I will contact him and see if he can make it next month. And the next would be Bob May, RJM Consulting.
I met with Dennis the other day and passed on the information for the bid package for the shelter. I'm still waiting on the plans from Abercrombie to put with that outline spec. I also showed Dennis Allen the bid package that we have to put together for that. We can basically use the same thing that you've already put together, just change, some dates and a few words and a little description, so we should be able to get that out. Again, reminded Dennis and the trustees, we basically have to advertise it, then I think you advertised for 3 weeks. What we did was we put it out for advertisement, then we had a pre-bid at the jobs site. I think we took it out on the 23rd. We had the pre-bid on the 30th October, and we had the bids due November 13th. So if we use that frame of time, if we could get that, and I need to confirm with Abercrombie if he's got his drawing done, then we could go out probably, because Alan, don't we have to give that to the newspaper like the week on a Wednesday before? or-
Yeah, then, with the new, I don't know what paper to use now because this, the paper they have now around here, they changed the deadlines and, they don't, it's different, so,
Okay. Well, again, that's our key.
yeah.
Is that date and when we have to
I'm not
get
even
that.
sure that's a good paper to use now, but
Yeah, I don't know if that would be
I
a
don't
good
know.
paper.
Might be the Inquirer.
Well, whoever we need to use, and then,
Yeah.
that same outline that you've got in that, I showed it to Dennis, that we can use basically almost that
Yeah,
verbatim, so
okay.
we should be able to get through there pretty quickly and easily.
So you think if Abercrombie has stuff ready, we could get this program started in February?
We could get it out for bid.
Yeah.
We could get bids in February, let's put it
Okay.
that way.
All right.
Yeah, we could get, hopefully, if we kind of backed it up, if, let's use the 13th of February, and then we have our pre-bid like January 30th, and we do our advertising sometime next week or real close, that should meet all those dates.
Okay.
So that's what I'll be shooting for.
I can tell you the Inquirer's a lot more expensive, but when you're looking for bids,
That's where
you're looking for companies outside of just Harrison.
Right.
I think I would spend the money and put it.
I think it's worth, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Again, you've had some interest in this particular project. They are from people locally, and this is the shelter. This is a very small job, but because of prevailing wage, the numbers are more than the $50,000, so we have to go through this system that I'm gonna help teach some people how to do this to try to minimize the expense, especially on the design side.
The only other thing I have, Bob, is if we start down the road on the firehouse project, do we need to sign a different contract with you to handle that project?
Well, basically, if you read my proposal, you can use that same document because it tells you what services I can render for you. Because we don't have it defined, it would probably start out as an hourly rate
Okay.
to get to the next point. But again, then I can just work for you as your construction manager and do similarly to what we did for the other building. By the time you defined it, I think I was like, I forget how much a month. I was gonna spend so many hours a month
Yeah.
managing it, so. We
Okay.
can just use the same documents, and it also already spells out, I can help you put it out for bid, I can help you get permits, I can,
I was just wanting to bring it up for the other township trustees here in case they want to go another route or they're happy with
Yeah.
your performance.
Yeah.
It has to be discussed. And so you guys can think about it. If you want to go another way or something, we should, let everybody know so that we can, because we need to get the firehouse project probably started about as soon as possible also.
okay,
So, okay.
thank you very much. Any questions?
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
That one's done in time.
Oh, you have to stay, we locked the doors.
Dennis called me up and says, oh yeah, can you meet on there? No problem. And I says, yes, there is a problem.
All right, Jack Wagner from Johnson Controls.
Imagine last week when we had a special meeting in front of the Monday Night Football game.
Yeah, we should have stayed.
That was a genius move on our part.
And it ended up not being an issue.
No.
Where that guy got hurt.
Yeah.
It was interesting to say the least, but it's great that he's back and healthy. And
Right.
Yeah, it's
Right.
amazing.
Into that.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is this your stuff?
Yep.
Don't forget
I
that.
always thank you.
Good evening. For those of you that I haven't met yet, my name is Jack Wagner. I'm your guys' new account rep for Johnson Controls Tyco Integrated Security. Doug reached out to me earlier this week just to come stop by and introduce myself and answer any questions you guys might have. I wrote some notes down here, but I would rather hear what you guys think before I go and do my spiel.
Well, I guess my main concern is when we put the Johnson Controls into the building, all we've ever had is trouble with it.
Okay.
And then when Harry told them to get it fixed and they put in a new control board, we got a whole new bill for everything. And I feel like we should have got a discount on that work and control board, or else it should have been put in just because nothing else worked very good in the first place.
Okay.
And so we were withholding payment on this last bit of work because we didn't think that we were getting a fair shake on the equipment that was put in the first place.
It was that, and it was also the fact that it was, hey, we're having an issue. Hardware gets, because I'm the one that pays the bills, so I'm the one that kind of alerted them, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not paying this unless you guys tell me to, because hardware gets put in where there wasn't any kind of communication that I know of. Okay, like, here's how we fix it, and this is what it's gonna, you know what I mean? There was no notice of it. It was just like, bam, $4 to $5 grand piece. What?
I gotcha.
And so yeah, that. And from my end, Johnson Controls, when I first took office, I was kind of cleaning up some messes here in my office, and I can tell you, Johnson Controls, I know this isn't you, but Johnson Controls in general is, very, just antsy and anxious about every single dime and every single bill on the collections end, but then it's all of a sudden throw in thousands of dollars worth of equipment that kind of knocks us broadside.
I understand that.
That was, and from my end, that was part of the issue too.
Oh, that could clearly be frustrating, but I'm not sure how many times you guys would ever see your rep. Do you have an
Never.
Never. See, that's a problem. That's a problem. My goal is to come in and see you guys at least twice a quarter, so hopefully you won't have any of those miscommunication problems in the future. I will look into that for you.
Well, Harry's the one that had the biggest problems because every time the alarm would go off, he'd have to come over from his house and reset it, and it just was an ongoing issue.
So do you guys monitor that wirelessly, or is it all monitored in-house here? Because I know...
Yeah, we don't monitor it.
Okay. There's stuff we can offer to make that a lot more easier, so you don't have to come in here every time it misfires or something like that, and that's something I can look into too, because I know that's a pain in the butt. But is it happening frequently, or?
Well, it was off, 3 months, I bet, the last time. They came out and put a new board in it.
Okay.
Well, and then they left, and a couple days later, I'm not sure the date, it started going off again.
Okay.
So, but they have meetings and everything here, and there's a buzzer back there just keep going off, so we turned it off.
Okay.
All they told me to do was cut the wire on the alarm, the buzzer, and that would stop it.
Right.
Well, they come back in and said the board was burned again. So, I don't know who the gentleman was. I got about 4 names here. One of them come out, said it needed a new board again. So this went on for another 2 months. And then he come back out and put the board in it and that. And then it just went haywire. They couldn't. And this is a simplex system we got.
Yeah, okay.
Everybody come out here, well, I've never worked on that. I've never worked on that.
Yeah.
But they would, try to fix it, and it never worked. So the last time it kept it up, and I called them and I said, fix the thing. I'm tired of coming over here.
Yeah.
So that's when they went ahead and put that new box and everything, and I had no idea they was gonna do all that.
Okay.
It's only been here since 19, so you would think this
Yeah, it's pretty new.
It's been 2 or 3 years, and you're having to replace that much already.
That's the other part about it, because that was right before my term, so I wasn't here when we switched over. But I was going to ask, Johnson Controls, we haven't even been under contract with them for very long. Like we had issues with a previous vendor or supplier, and then we went to Johnson Controls, and then we're already having
issues.
I mean, nonstop. Not like he said. I would be in here at night doing financial stuff. Fire or alarms are going nuts. I'm calling the fire department. They're like, what? They don't know. And it's been a nightmare, and really, it's an issue from a financial perspective, but to speak to more from their perspective as well is, I think in Harry, I think everyone's kind of wondering, as all of this has gone on, what kind of protection has even been in place that's been paid for all this time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I mean that's an issue. And then it got to the point where so many things, and Harry was getting so many different pieces of information from different people that it started to become kind of, people wondering, what is this system even supposed to do?
Okay.
I mean, really, like what features are even involved? And that's not necessarily a specific conversation for right now, obviously.
Right.
But in asking about, the different issues that we're having, those are major questions as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, why is it contacting Harry when an alarm goes off? Because would Harry have to come here then and call 911 if the place is on fire? I mean, was he the contact for it and not the fire department? Or, because you never got called, did you?
Yeah.
Maybe that's how it was set up, but why would Harry shouldn't be getting the calls if the alarm's going off?
Yeah, I don't.
It's
I
a
mean,
mess.
we're paying like
Sounds like
what
it.
we're having to pay a year, our quarterly payment. Should that not have covered the equipment also, or was that just strictly for calling Harry?
We've got two issues. We've got billing issues with this stuff, but we've also got kind of a, if you're interested in keeping us as a client, maybe it probably ought to be, once you kind of touch base with Harry in a little more detail, maybe come to a meeting and make sure that they know, because they're the decision makers, exactly what services are supposed to be being provided with what we have, what you can offer, and almost treat yourself as like a prospective client, because everyone's so fed up right now. That's kind of what we're looking at.
Okay. I kind of understand what I can put some literature together and tell you exactly what you guys have. I can come to your next one and have a little bit more preparation. I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
You come to the next meeting and
Yeah.
have yourself prepared. That would be the best.
Well, I had all your stuff written out, what we monitor. I didn't know you guys were having all these issues. See, I just took over the territory
Right.
a month ago, and I didn't know you guys were having all these problems.
We were trying to get the other guy here, and he never could make it.
Okay, well, I'm glad I'm here today. So let me get all your guys' information. I'll put something together, and I'll come up here next month, and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
And, we'll try
Appreciate
to
it.
get rid of all these issues that you guys are having.
Thank you.
Does that sound good? I'm going to put a bunch of my business cards on the desk here, too, before I leave. So if you guys need anything, just call me. You can call
Okay.
me whenever. But we'll try and get it figured out. I'll look into the billing issues, and then I'll pull up your entire system, and I'll tinker around with it and look at it. You shouldn't be having to come up here. That's ridiculous. So let me get your information, too, and then if you ever need anything, you can call me directly. I'll pick up anytime. Okay? And you guys have any more questions, or?
No, that's pretty much it.
You also drop your information with Mr. Carter right next to him as well.
Yeah.
So he works with me on the financial side, and then Harry's on the facilities side.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Thank you. Public at large, you're the last one standing. This should be a little more calming.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My name's Michelle Elliott, and I'm the branch manager at the Harrison branch of the Public Library. And I just wanted to give a quick update today about what's going on at the library. So we just started our winter checkout challenge, which is for adults. So all of you can participate, and you have to, you can sign up online or in our branch, and it goes from now, today, through February 24th. And when you sign up, you get a tote bag that says Winter Checkout Challenge, and you have to complete at least 5 of the 16 activities to get an entry form for the grand prize. So the activities are things like check out a record or listen to a podcast. Listen to a library podcast specific. Check out at least 5 books or movies or whatever, 5 items at a time. Attend an event with a friend, or in person or online. Just some fun stuff like that. And then the grand prizes are, there's an experience OTR package, making your way downtown with a gift card to Brewburger, and then a clay cafe with a class for 2 at Queen City Clay. So those are pretty nice grand prizes, I think. So hopefully somebody will want to do that. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about is, I don't know, there's a lot of services that the library provides in addition to, what you probably think of, which is checking out books and story times and things like that. So when I've been coming out to council meetings, I've been trying to highlight a service that you might not be aware of. So one of the services that the library provides is we assist customers with voter registrations. So you can come to the library and register to vote. And you can come to the library and change your address. You can come to the library and you can fill out your request an absentee ballot for elections. And then Harrison, along with 10 other library locations, are polling locations. So, which is a great service. We encourage everyone to vote. It's an important thing to do, and get your voice to be heard in that way. So, in case you didn't know, now you do. Do you have any questions for us for me about the library?
I don't have anything.
We're working on our agency goals, so what we would like to accomplish in 2023, and one of the things that we would like to do is to be, a community resource. So is there anything that you can think of that the library might be able to support you in Crosby Township?
The only thing I can think of, and Brenda's not here, is if you could do a program with the senior citizens, maybe sometime, because they tend to have a little more time to read.
Yeah.
I don't yet, but.
Yeah, you guys are kind of busy.
But,
you could always listen to a book, though.
I don't get any enjoyment out of that, except when I'm driving, but I like to handle the pages. I like I like visually reading the print.
Yeah.
So, but.
I understand.
Yeah. But no, I think, you might get a hold of Brenda and see if you could do a program with her.
All right.
That sounds like something they might be interested in.
Okay. And one thing that we do with the Harrison Senior Center is we have a deposit collection. So we bring books to the Harrison Senior Center that are there for the seniors that come in and use the building. They can check them out. It's sort of like an honor system.
Yeah.
They borrow them, and then they, I think it's 2 months. Every 2 months we swap out the collection.
Rotate.
Would that be Brenda also?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on there, Dennis. We have a library, but that could help.
Okay.
We have our own library here.
Yeah,
So that we
the
do
Harrison
use-
one does too. It's just like
Okay.
it's like newer titles. There's large print
Okay.
books. So
Just saying, we have
Yeah.
one here too, but that would work.
you would like it? I got to vote.
Yeah, if you already have a way to not mix and mingle those, that might be a viable thing.
Yeah, our books are pretty. We have markings on them, so like there's spine labels, so they're pretty. You can tell it quickly at a glance that they belong to the library. And at the Harrison Senior Center, we just have different shelves. So like their books are on a shelf and our books are on another shelf.
That's fine. I don't think we'll be stealing them.
It's an honor system.
All right.
All right, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
for coming.
you. Reports, legal, Alan?
No report.
I have something for you, Alan, if I can find it. I was talking to Bill Weisbrot, and the Historical Society, in order for them to get a grant, they have to be the owner of the old town hall. And so when we were finishing up the old town hall over there, I was talking to the workers. I went over and Bill was home, and asked Bill what his thoughts were on it. And Bill said that He would not be opposed to getting the deed back and transferring the deed back to him, and then he would do the deed to the Historical Society with the stipulation that if the Historical Society went defunct, that the property would revert to the township. So that a different.
Revert to the township, not
Right.
back to the family.
He didn't really think that as long as the township had control of the building, he would be happy with that.
Sure, that'd be great.
So,
We could probably arrange that.
so if you want to take and,
What's his number?
he's in zoning, so I can find it on the zoning paper, because he's on the zoning commission, one of them, but because they can't do anything unless they can't get a grant unless they own the building. And so that's what his idea was on that. And he thought if it would work legally to go back and forth, and then he wouldn't have a problem with it. As long as it didn't end up in somebody else's hands outside of the township.
And Dennis, to make sure I get the minutes right, this is the situation where he owns the land, the township
owns the
owns
lands
the
underneath
structure
the old-
sitting on the
Correct.
land. Okay, so he'd be interested in deeding the structure back to him so that the whole package, the land and the building.
Right. And then if there was any tax write-off for donation, but it's a small tract, it wouldn't be much. But, if there was some kind of tax stipulation where he could write off, but he said that was not going to be a sticking point.
Right. Okay.
So,
So only the land that it's actually sitting on that would be involved?
yeah, once when the town hall, if we would move it, the land would go
I
back
know.
to him.
Right, it's his
But as long
land
as the
underneath
building
it.
is on there, we get the use of it. Well, he would deed it over to them.
Right, but
and
only
the
the
land-
land that it's.
Do you guys know if it's
on?
already parceled, the land? Is the land already parceled?
Yeah. I mean, there's a deed that describes the
Was that
parcel.
1/9 of an
I just
acre or
didn't, I
something?
was just making sure it wasn't currently just sitting on like a large family,
No,
like tract of
No,
land
it's
or something.
separately deeded off.
Gotcha.
it's like 1/9 of an acre or something. It's real
It's
low.
pretty small, yeah. So that's about the only thing I have with you. And then you're going to be working with Bob May on getting all that stuff. The other thing, I guess since we're talking, is we're going to be passing a resolution for the fire department to advertise on the county auction site, and you're going to have to sign off on it as well in the paperwork, so that'll be coming up later.
Later in this meeting?
Yeah.
Correct.
So there's a resolution that's been prepared for that?
Yep.
There is.
Okay.
All right, maintenance, Harry.
Oh,
Sorry.
Since we're just on Allen, I would like to inquire, or I would like the trustees to authorize me engaging Alan's time in trying to connect with Fifth Third about this check so that we can get this resolved. We haven't heard from them. It's phone tag, or we haven't heard from their investigations section since this first happened. It's been like 4 months now. It's been a while.
You think legal counsel would have more?
Yeah.
More
Well,
bite?
yeah, and it would also inform legal counsel based upon how that goes on next steps, rather than Brian and I playing phone tag with each other and then back and forth from them to Mr. Trends. I mean, somewhere in there, we've got, the police report. Already asked Lieutenant Stuckey to get the most recent update, if there is any, because it's just really interesting given the fact that they tied it to at least one other fraud that they know about, where the bank actually caught it before paying out the check. Well, they paid out the one that was washed on ours. So that's why in this case, I think legal counsel is acceptable, because Mr. Trenz, as the township's attorney, can say, hey, you guys did it right on that one. You didn't do it right on ours. Why are we sitting here right now, as of right now, holding the bag? You gotta honor this. You gotta pay this back. It's not like we didn't give them notice. I mean, as soon as it was reasonable for us to notice the thing, we told them about it. And
We need a motion for that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean,
as long as there's no objection to it, I don't have authority just willy-nilly to,
Okay.
go after the township's attorney for things. But if you guys are okay with that.
everything you have, there's an incident report.
Yeah, with the police, yeah.
Okay, I don't have a problem with it.
So is it basically our banks dropping the ball on that?
I think so. I mean,
They are tough to deal with, any bank, when you have these, they're very tough to deal with.
they don't like losing money just like anybody else, especially the banks. The reason why everything in the last decade has gone automated, right? I mean, everything has. Well, but the law governing payment systems hasn't changed. It's just automated for the sake of making more money and doing things more efficiently. It's the bank's job to ensure that this is a good check. And, when they have the ability to say, no, we're not paying that check when it gets sent to them from where it was presented.
Yeah.
They can say, no, we're not paying it. There's 2 different fonts on the check. They didn't do that.
Okay.
It's okay with me, let's go for it.
All right.
All right. Maintenance, Harry?
The only thing I got, met with Huseman Paving at Fort Scott, and I met with a couple other ones, and I hadn't heard anything. Anyway, he got me a bid back for fixing all the cracks and everything in the new part, not the old part, the new part, where it's all settled down and
Yeah.
What building was this you were talking about, Harry?
The roads.
The roads?
Yeah.
it's a boulevard.
Oh, on Fort Scott?
Yeah,
Was that the 38,000 and the 40?
yeah.
And the one's just a winter? What's the winter price?
Yeah, I don't understand that. It's higher
It
than,
probably might take, well, we'll tell them to wait till summer,
I
probably.
don't understand that.
So this is above what we're having repaved?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this what we were talking about with the resealing, or is this something besides that?
This is something different.
Oh.
People, I've got phone calls, they're complaining about the street is cracked, and then it's settling down different heights, and then when they go over it now, they're hitting that. So that's gotta be all cut out of there and rebased and, put new blacktop net in it.
Well, I'd say we use our ARPA funds for this repair,
Sounds good?
because you can use that. And,
But do the summer.
but I think I would save $10,000 and wait
Yeah.
until summer.
Let them hit the bumps for a while.
So what I would say, I don't know when we're gonna get Fort Scott repaved, the part that we're having done.
Yeah.
So they're probably you're just gonna have to book it whenever they can get to it, because Fort Scott might not get done till the fall of the year for all we know. So, we need an approval on this, or
We sure we would. 38,000.
38,000, we
Yes.
have to have a resolution?
No, I don't think you ever need a resolution.
All right, well, I move that we use our ARP funds to cover the 38,000 and have it done in the summer on road repairs up in the Fort Scott subdivision that is above what we're having paid by the county.
I second
I
it.
tell you, it's hard to get anybody anymore. Nobody wants to. I'll meet with them and I'll get back to you, and I never hear another word from them.
Yeah.
It's just,
All right, I have a second from Harry, so roll call. I'm sorry, a second from Chuck. Harry was talking, and I had
Harry.
him on my mind.
Hi,
Sorry.
Harry.
And this is on Fort Scott Boulevard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Haim,
Yes.
Loman,
Yes.
Heiss.
Yes.
Anything else for Harry?
Oh, yeah. Job description, I got here, everything started happening here when I got here, and I never got anything copied off. I took the job description that was in the book back there and incorporated it with the stuff that Harry gave me and what I came up with before. I'll take and copy this off. We can look at it at the next meeting. And then
What's the job description for?
Harry's retiring.
Yeah.
So maintenance.
Want to make sure everybody.
Job description for the maintenance supervisor. And we have to make up our mind too, when you read this, is if we're gonna do full-time or part-time. I'm almost leaning to full-time. And then we'll have to look at what Harry's making and what you think a full-time maintenance supervisor, if you wanna go that route, what you'd wanna pay him. Of course, they'd be full-time, so they'd be getting benefits on top of it. And once we come to that, Brenda's not here, but we need to get the septic system upgrade out of the website. I don't know, Brian, if you can handle that. Get that off of that website, because that's old news now for a long time and it's still on there. And then when we get, everybody agrees on what we're doing, then we'll put an ad in the paper accepting a application for a position, and we can put it on our website too. And then that way we get this out. I'd like after the next meeting, we come to a conclusion on this and act. Because we don't want Harry to be here next year at this time and he's still waiting on somebody to train. So, I think that's all I have with Harry. Trying, Harry, to keep this thing moving, but.
That's all right.
Also, the black sealer I gave you, did you read that can?
For my office there.
Is it usable?
Yeah.
Can you use it?
I think it
Okay.
would
Well, you don't have to give it back to me, use it.
be. Okay.
And I'll just get some more. It's my donation. It was, Gorilla Glue has, spray-on black rubber sealant. I thought the fire department's got a leak up there. If it warms up again,
Yeah, we're gonna get it.
yeah, go up there and see if it stops a couple of their leaks before we tear it apart.
Yeah, I was just talking to him about it.
Oh, okay.
It gets warm enough, we can get up there. We'll get
Yeah.
it.
All right. That's all.
All right, Fire Chief Davis.
December run totals, we had 39 EMS details, 30 fire details, for a total of 69 details during December. The year-end report for 2022 is provided. I believe it's the 4th page in your packet. We had a total of 780 runs in 2022. That was 69 more than 2021. We had 457 EMS details in '22. That was 40 more than the year of '21, and 323 fire details in '22. That was 29 more than 2001. Behind the '22 year, I've got the 2021 year also for you. I can touch base a little bit on what we started talking about before with the auction. After the December meeting, I made contact with a William Hasty from Hamilton County about the auction site. He sent me paperwork to be filled out by the township trustees and the township lawyer. I gave to Trustee Hyab. And Mr. Wallace and I spoke on the phone today about that also. And it looks like there is a resolution later on to sign for that. Once that paperwork is either scanned and emailed to him or faxed to him, he's going to contact me. We'll head down there, take photos of what he finds appropriate to put on the auction site, and then we'll go from there. I made a very rough list after actually before I talked to him. I went down there and made a list. There's about 30 things on the list. But when he comes in, I'll go down with him and he'll tell me what will sell, what won't sell, what we can put on there. So
All right.
a more accurate list after I speak with him.
Yeah.
When I drafted the resolution, it was based on my understanding, that it kind of got a clarified understanding. When I looked at the specifically the contract, and I can rewrite it if I need to, if anybody thinks that this was done wrong, but I worded it. The contract seems to need a resolution, really authorizing the entering into the contract with the county for the auction generally. From our end, I thought that the trustees ought to be authorizing individual pieces of equipment that are going to the auction, unless the trustees, somehow see fit to, just delegate that responsibility. But for an organization our size, I thought it was appropriate for the trustees to authorize the specific items, probably by motion, in an open meeting. So the way I worded it is simply, entering into contract. On that contract is a slot for all three trustees to sign, actually, along with Mr. Trends. And then down the road, next open meeting, then, or the one after that, a specific list, because he doesn't have that yet.
Yeah.
That's why the individual items aren't listed on that resolution, because we don't know what they are,
Right.
but the contract doesn't seem to contemplate that. The contract just wants a resolution, hey, for this year. My intention is, and I'm going to have the resolution 5 ahead of that as well, is that resolution 5 and 6 is the one with the auction. That's going to be one of our yearly resolutions that I bring to you at the organizational meeting. It authorizes the township to send items to the auction every year. We may not send a thing, but it's there and allows us to do it and enter in the contract.
Okay.
The last thing I have tonight is I'd like to call an executive session after the meeting to discuss wages for fire department employees. If that's okay.
Anybody got anything else?
You got
Yeah, well, talking with Bob May and the chief on redoing the firehouse, I asked the chief to put together a list of what kind of facilities he was going to need in upgrading the living quarters, so that the architect that we hire knows how many bedrooms, how much shower, bathroom facilities we need, kitchen facilities, general meeting area, office space, all that kind of stuff, so that when we turn it over to the engineer, he comes out with what needs to go into that building and it's done properly. So, and then looking at down the road, we're going to have to either put in temporary facilities for the firefighters to stay in. We're going to have to look at the cost of getting temporary trailers in there, or purchasing property on either side of the firehouse and using it to do stuff that, we have to look at the financial aspects of everything around us, because we're going to have to deal with it. And so if Chief, if you have somebody that could give us a price on temporary housing if you got connections, if you don't, well, then I'd go in at cold turkey and start hunting. But I know the school system uses temporary classrooms, and they're out there. All you got to do is find out what the cost is. I don't know how many bedrooms you're going to need, so you would be more apt to whether we needed a double wide or if you get by with a single or whatever. So, but we're going to have to look at that cost when we're figuring out doing the whole project that we're looking at. So everybody can visualize, look at what's around the firehouse, and forming an opinion. So when he comes back with the cost, that we can figure out what the most viable plan that we need to take. So other than that, that's all I have.
Do we have any idea how long that might take to build?
Well, it just depends. First, you got to tear off the whole back end of the building, which won't take that long. You see them tear down McDonald's in a day almost. And so, but they'll have to put a firewall up in between the living quarters and the equipment bay.
Apparatus bay.
So that'll have to happen, and then Bob seemed to think that they could put a wood structure up for the back end, and it should go up fairly fast. So, but we just have to see, theoretically you should be able to have it done in 8-9 months, I would think. I mean, you can put a house up in 9 months. Prefab you can put up faster than that.
3 weeks.
But my house was sticked up, and it was done in 9 months, plumbing and everything. So, I'm thinking that once we get it started, we should be able to inhabit it within easily a year. But what do I know? So, stuff to think about.
Stuff to think about, yeah.
All right.
Do you know that fire hydrant that I know that there's something was wrong with it, so it's up to the city to fix it, or?
No, I talked to, I guess Brenda about that. Yes, we don't service fire hydrants. The only thing we do to fire hydrants during the spring and fall is flow it and grease and take care of the threads for the caps. So if we come across a fire hydrant that's been struck by a vehicle, broken, missing something, Waterworks has a website that we log in. It gives them the address, what's wrong with it, what township or city it's in. They log it, they fix it, and they give us an email back saying that issue's been taken care of. So when I got that email from you, I logged it into the system, but I have not heard back from that system yet saying that that problem's been taken care of. And the problem was it had a broken stem, so it would not turn on. You'll see trash bags over them when it's a new hydrant, or sometimes when it's a new hydrant, they'll be put on backwards when they're not in service yet. So I assume it's not a new hydrant. I don't know why a trash bag was on there.
It had been on there for years, I think. No, I mean, it was falling off.
Yeah. But that stem's been reported, and it's not been fixed yet.
Yeah, it's kind of an important location, because there's a school and church right across from it, so.
Yeah, there is a whole list of hydrants in the county that are being worked on.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? All right, community coordinator, I'll try to go over this quickly. This is from Brenda. I sincerely thank the Crosby community for their goodness and generosity for the children of our township. It is summed up in the thank you letter to those donated to this benefit. Also, a special thank you to the following donors, which I will read. And thank you to all who supported the project. So the letter she wrote was extend a huge thank you for the 2022 Crosby Kringle Chest for the 16th year benefit. They helped 45 children this year. This year there were 30 volunteer shoppers who took the Christmas list and went and bought all the items. And then there was a family wrapping night here where 41 people from Crosby Township helped wrap all the gifts. And just says, well done. We thank you for being an important part of what makes all this bright in a child's heart and the eyes to see beautifully wrapped packages under the Christmas tree. Crosby Township Heart of Compassion and Giving is amazing. So that was sent to all the donors, and the donors were Alvis Materials, American Reclaiming Company, Brian and Diane Carter, Ken and Lisa Crawford, Crosby Historical Society, Denier Electric, Energy Alliance, Kevin Fleeman, Fort Scott Race Proceeds, Frankenstein's Nursery, Dennis and Karen Hyab, Hoffner Lodge, Jim and Carol Ennis, Nolman Farms, Maribeth House, Modern Day Concrete Construction, Jim and Sharon Niehaus, Nutrien, Ohio Horsemen's Council, Reynolds, Michael and Karen, Rick Losekamp Plumbing, Scherzinger Drilling, Phil and Jane Teeters, VFW and Dual Associates, Venue on the Lake, and Bill and Roseanne Weisbrod for a total of $6,972. So we want to thank all them. And then I have distributed 2021 inventory documents to each department this past week and expect to receive them back and be able to update them for the 2022 inventory before this coming Friday's deadline. I'm currently receiving 2023 baseball field reservations, and there may be more requests than days of the week at this point. Hopefully it will be completed in the next couple of weeks. I guess she's starting to have issues of more people wanting to use it on the same days, so there's maybe some issues with that. All of Crosby Township's relevant information has been updated and submitted for the 2023 year for Hamilton County Road Engineers Department. We received requests from Hamilton County Board of Elections for 2023 and 2024 election years to use the community center as a voting location. They include elections to be held May, August, and November of each year. The proper paperwork has been completed and returned. The seniors had I gave a presentation on Antique Christmas here. And then they're having a dinner and music with friends January 19th at Harrison Buffalo Wings and Wild Wings at 5. And after dinner, they will be going to Harrison Senior Center on Dry Fork to see Whitewater Bluegrass Band at 6:30. Looking forward into February, they're going to meet next month for their dinner with friends on the third Thursday night, February 16th at 5 p.m. at Houston Woods Lodge to eat, sit around the huge fireplace, play cards and board games, and then spend the night at the lodge. Call Brent if you would like a reservation. Altogether, it's $79 a person. And then the only other thing is she's got the contract for Strickers Grove. The date this year is May 21st, which that was the only date available, which kind of makes it tight against the Memorial Day, but we're going to have to do it. So it's going to be a busy last half of the month. Our price for Strickers Grove is $52.99. Their normal rate is $7,200. Since 2015, it's gone up an average of $156 per year. So she got that all date taken care of and reserved for that. And that's all I have for Brenda. Does anybody have any questions? I don't know if I can answer them.
What was the day again for Crosby
The
Day?
21st.
May 21st. Thank you.
She said they can't open it till a certain time every year, which
They have to wait till school. I know they use a lot of school kids, and there's a rule
they do stuff there.
that you can't work a kid so much. So I don't know why. I don't know.
Yeah, they would still have school on May 21st, probably.
Beats me.
It seems like it's later this year. Oh, it is later this year.
Brenda was saying something about the state won't let them open to a certain date.
Yeah, they said it
now.
was the
Oh, really?
state.
That's what she told me.
I said
because
maybe they're
know
going to get
it.
inspected or something.
Yeah, it may be based on when they can get the inspectors there. Because the one year, it was like the day before they finally got
Oh, really?
3 rides to be able to be open because it was tight on getting them in they have to get inspectors, individual inspectors, like for each of the manufacturers of the different rides.
Oh, really?
What a pain.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all of that.
I know at the planning meeting, she was wanting to buy a new projector. So I think we ought to give her the authority to spend up to $300 on a new projector. From what the information she gave us, that would cover the biggest part of them for whichever one she chose to use.
Do I have a second?
I mean,
I mean, that's a small amount.
Yeah, it's a small amount.
you're
they
about
can
to
use.
put in a resolution of
For
matters over
$1,000.
$1,000, so
We don't have to worry about it.
if no one objects to it,
I
I think just tell
make
her.
a note to her that we don't have any objections of her spending for a new projector.
It's fine with me.
You don't have to stay here for all this if you don't want to. Yeah, that's fine. All this stuff is gonna,
He's trying to get a nap in, maybe.
doesn't want to go home. Yeah,
All right, fiscal officer, Matt.
Okay, let's start with the easy stuff, the resolutions. First of all, I think two of the trustees already saw it. Mr. Hyde, there was a typo in Resolution 1 that I've got corrected in there for your signature after the meeting.
okay.
I've got proposed resolutions, Resolution 05-2023. And this was mentioned by the trustees at the organizational meeting. Says makes it basically it adopts a resolution requiring approval by the Board of Trustees for all non-operating expenses over $1,000 in all departments. Essentially, any non-regular, non-operating expenses. We do get some things that are more expensive than that are regular maintenance expenses. You know, set of tires on a truck.
Right.
You know, some equipment for fire, stuff like that. But would require the trustees' approval. And so I'll pass this down for your signature as long as that is still the desire of the trustees.
Can you please clarify for me what you mean by non-operating, so I know if I get a bill, I need to run it through you before I pay it?
Well, if you get something over $1,000, first of all, you can run it through me.
Okay.
But you know, if the way I understand it, trustees are the decision makers. So correct me if I'm wrong. You know, dump truck goes for a set of tires. That's going to cost more than $1,000.
I understand that part.
And that's an operating expense. It's regular maintenance, regular deal. Stuff like the quarterly bill for Johnson Controls. It's a little over $1,000. That's a regular expense. Lighting for Duke for the street lighting is a little over $1,000 a month. Regular expense.
Non-operating would be like a projector. Is that non-operating?
Exactly.
It's over $1,000.
A piece of equipment, like a new piece of equipment that's not in operation, that's not an operating expense. That's a new piece of equipment. You know, like if like last year, Chief Davis wanted a new stretcher, it's over $1,000, or a new set of pads, or whatever, something that's or a service agreement that's new, that's not been authorized. Bring it to the trustees. Almost anything over $1,000 would be needed to be brought to the trustees.
But he was wanting to know what's the definition of non-operating.
Yeah, so, yeah, if we buy, so, you know, let me throw the chief under the bus here.
I can give you examples.
Quick
But
second.
Projector is non-operating.
Okay, so,
Something new,
last year the
basically.
chief bought a bunch of T-shirts over $1,000.
That would need
That
to be
should have been
approved.
approved.
Okay.
I mean, that's just, But we never have had this resolution.
Well, I understand that.
As
That's
well.
why I want to make sure.
She had to go buy paper, and it's $500 worth of paper for the
That's
copier.
operating.
She wouldn't need authorization.
Right, but
Well, and if the paper bill was $1,050, still wouldn't need it because that's an operating expense.
Yeah. We're not getting
it's
anywhere.
ambiguous. I understand part of it, but, so if he needed to buy uniforms, I guess that's operating, so he doesn't, it's carte blanche on that.
He comes to the trustees though for that. He has. I mean, when we get these big bills from Phoenix, fire gear, uniforms.
We didn't answer the question.
Didn't
but-
answer the question.
Right.
I bet the state auditor probably has a definition of non-operating expenses.
I'm sure once we catch up with our audits, we'll get an answer in writing.
All right.
Possibly
I make
by
a
certified
motion
mail.
that we approve, adopt Resolution 5-2023.
I second it.
Roll call.
Hyam,
Yes.
Lohman,
Yes.
Heiss.
Yes.
So the one I passed down
That's the one.
is, I guess, can you guys just treat one of those as the original?
Yeah.
Who moved on that again? That was,
Dennis.
because I lost my original.
Dennis and then Chuck
Dennis and then
second.
Chuck? Okay. Let me just make sure I do get this down right first, and then we'll go to the next one.
Was the second one gonna be held off because of,
No.
No, it's the auction one.
right?
No, we don't
It's
have the
gotta-
specifics in there. It just authorizes
Okay.
the
It's just a
contract.
that we can do it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, resolution 062023 adopts or allows for the sale of surplus township property on the online auction operated by Hamilton County, Ohio through December 31st, 2023 pursuant to the attached contract, which I attached on the back of here, as approved by the trustees. If the trustees move second and accept this motion, you'll need to sign the resolution on the front. You'll also need to sign the contract, which is third page to the back, because there's an appendix or an exhibit on the back, which is kind of like the rules for the auction site, but it informs the contracts. So
I'm assuming this is a standard contract that the county,
this was the county's contract that they provided to us. That they require for us to use their auction website.
just so the township trustees, on page 2, there's certain duties, things that you have to have done or the township has to have done. Entertain all requests to view the property, provide potential bills with maintenance records, have personnel available to answer potential bidders' questions. None of that's any surprise to any of you?
No.
Okay. And the 8% of the final sale, I'm sure that's what they charge all the time for that. Okay.
So I put a stapled copy in your boxes that you're looking at, but I have a paper clipped copy here that you'll sign, because I'll need to scan that, I'm sure, and send it in. I'll pass this down, and once you're ready, you can sign that.
I move we adopt Resolution 06-2023.
Okay, motion by Hyab.
I second it.
Roll call.
Lohman,
Yes.
Hyab,
Yes.
Heiss.
Yes.
All right, so there's that for signature.
And we have to sign the other page too.
You got to sign the front, and you got to sign the
Page
contract.
5.
Page 5.
And then when you all are ready, I've got a couple of other things to just notify you about or ask you about.
Okay, shoot.
All right. So the audit for 2018-19 is complete and being sent to the state by our independent auditor, Wayne Baston. I put a copy of that in everyone's mailbox. It's ugly. It's not good. We knew that was going to happen. That's nothing we didn't know was coming. I provided a response on behalf of the township, just simply putting on the record. Wayne provided me with a kind of a customary waiver of response, and there was no way that I was going to sign that waiver. I wanted on the record at least that myself and 2 out of the 3 trustees here were not in any term at any time during the time frame audited here. I'm not looking forward to the next audit either, to be honest with you, because that covers the time frame where I was supposed to be being trained on the job, how to do the job that wasn't being done very well. So I think the true test of where we're at is actually 2 audits from now, which would cover years 22 and 23. And we're in 23 right now. We've come a long way, and we've got more ways to go, and we're still working on that. There's some we're to the point now with our accounting where we're able to start focusing towards some more institutional type things that need to be up to date and ready to go, that they like to see, stuff like training records. All of these, we've kind of talked about it here and there, but we haven't been able to put the focus into them a lot yet. The different kind of township policies, like public records requests, which we never get, but we have to have the policy, stuff like that, records retention and stuff like that. We need to have that in place by the end of this year, and so we can, really show how far that we've come. Already talked about Fifth Third with Mr. Trends. We've already got W-2s that should be being distributed out shortly. And that takes us to the kind of the big one for me this month, and that is Paylocity. I mentioned in the organizational meeting that I would come with some manner of requests regarding Paylocity. So here I have some things that Paylocity has given us, some billing type documents. As we sit right now, we haven't paid Paylocity anything yet. They gave us a quote right here, which was almost exactly $4,000. There's some itemizations on there, and they were telling us that was actually a wrong amount. It needed to be somewhat less, slightly less, somewhere in the 3,000s range, maybe mid to high 3,000 range, for that basically covers the implementation of their services and a year's worth of their monthly charges for services. That's relatively consistent with what it was going to be all along when we initially got the quote. I think it was in like the $3,600 range. I think it went up maybe a little bit. It wasn't anything egregious. That was a while back when we initially got the quote. When my issue with them, as I've mentioned in the past, is that the quote that we got, and it's, we haven't used a payroll service before, so their line item charging, their charging scheme, it's complicated. Every payroll, when I solicited quotes for payroll service, and I got 3 different quotes, every single one of those companies had their own proprietary way that they bill and charge for their services. And they kind of use that as like a selling point. Not, it gets to the point where it's hard to understand any of it. They, we told them what we want. Tell me what it's going to cost. I mean, I'm telling you what we want, and it's turning out that what we wanted isn't included in this charge. That's the kind of the main bill. The biggest issue that we had with them and their services was the how do you get the accounting of each individual person that's being paid, the withholdings that's coming out of their paycheck that's going to pensions, deferred compensations, health care and stuff like that, paid to those withholdings and also accounted for in our accounting software, UAN, seamlessly. They say that they have a way for that to happen. I knew that there was a way for that to happen. That's what I told the trustees, why I recommended Paylocity, because they were doing that with our neighboring township. However, after we were in the process of implementing Paylocity, we were notified by them in order to have that service done where they're integrating it constantly with our accounting software, that it's another implementation fee for this general ledger implementation, this general ledger service of another $1,300. I'm a little unclear on the ongoing charges related to that, but that kind of angered me. There are some general things that have been very frustrating as we've gone through this process. We've told them about, Brian and I were in multiple hours worth of Zoom meetings, both of us with their personnel in getting all this stuff set up. We were working, we thought, at kind of almost a breakneck pace, trying to get them exactly what they need. We provided them so many documents, to get this stuff set up. And we still would get very vague answers as far as like, how is the firefighters' deferred compensation accounts going to be paid? The healthcare withholdings, how's that going to get paid? Our take on it from the beginning when we solicited bids was, this is related to payroll. Money is being taken out of checks. You should be taking care of, and here's that other one. You should be paying that to wherever it goes. You're our agent in this. Do your job. And they didn't seem to really understand the concept of Ohio Police and Fire, which is the state fire pension program. OPERS. I was shocked at how little familiarity they had. Like, if a payroll service is coming to us, and I think they ought to know what OPERS is. I was really disappointed in that. I shouldn't be educating them on that. And so the last straw for me was when, after implementation and paychecks are being paid, I think we're 2 or 3 paychecks in now. 4 paychecks in, Brian says. As it's being done, as the data is being input, and I'm going through all this again just so it's on the record in the meeting. As the data's going in, as the paychecks are being paid, as the accounting for those paychecks are being done in our office, it's taking more work on our end, and it's not getting smaller. It's a consistent amount of work per paycheck on our office's end that is more time than what it was the old way of us inputting the data into UAN and doing the payroll through UAN. I've talked to Brian about it multiple times. We both share together the opinion that that's not going to get any better. I don't have a whole lot of hope at this point that even if we bought this extra service, which is a large percentage of what we already paid, and in addition, to get it implemented, that it's going to fix everything. I've got no hope at this point that even if we did this may go towards a long ways towards the accounting issues that go along with each paycheck. It still doesn't fix the fact that we would still be paying our own withholdings payments to our own retirement, to all of our retirement accounts, deferred compensation accounts, healthcare accounts, everything that's being withheld. This wouldn't even fix that. I do think that I don't think legally or ethically, that we could sit here and say, okay, we're just not going to pay for anything, because they have done work. I mean, we got our W-2s from them. They've reached into our bank account to pay all of our people. The paychecks, to my understanding, have all gone on time. We've put a lot of work into that, but they did spend hours of their manpower at least attempting this to get done. I would like the trustees' authorization in giving Paylocity immediate notice immediately that they are not to pull out any money for the paychecks that are supposed to be coming out this Friday. This will be the first paycheck of the year. If we do our own payroll, which would be paid this Friday, we would have all 100% of the payroll in 2023 done ourselves together for the end of 2023. I think that when we were engaging in payroll service, this was before Brian was on board with us. He has done a fantastic job in his job in helping the township. The township has benefited greatly because of Brian being here. Given our last assistant, I didn't know what to expect. And he has gotten to the point where his dealing with the payroll has been very, very efficient. I think the township would be better off bringing it back in-house after a small trial. I do think the township is going to have to pay for the time that we've utilized the Paylocity. They've implemented their service. Their implementation fee was just short of $900. They've put in 2 to 3 months worth of work, and they have a monthly fee. So what I'm asking for is the trustees' blessing in telling them to cease immediately, and hoping that they will agree with us that we would pay the implementation fee that we agreed with them on, and up to 3 months of the monthly fee, and walk away. I don't like doing that. It seems wasteful, but as I look at what's best for the township, what's best for going forward, to me, it seems absolutely crystal clear what's the best thing for the township. And I can take any other questions you guys have.
Two questions.
Go ahead.
Will you be penalized? Is there a certain time period with the contract itself when you sign it?
Well, the interesting thing about it is we technically haven't even signed. I don't believe we've even signed technically the agreement for this. I know we haven't paid it. I'm going to have to see. I mean, it's all about impression, right? So I guess what I mean by that is they can demand anything they want. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they may say, as I sit here, I don't believe that I've signed anything that's obligated us to that, especially since they've came back with like an updated. It's kind of like when you come back with a new version of an agreement, the old one's not really there.
So
I need to see what Ross is the account executive, kind of their version of like that guy that was here earlier. I need to see what he says. I mean, if he starts, if he starts pitching a fit, I'll let you guys know, and I'll seek counsel before I do anything stupid. But we should have the authority to say our money don't reach into our bank account. As an agent of the township, you're not doing this payroll. We're doing this payroll. Here's what we want to do, and see what he says.
You got enough time to do the payroll?
Yeah, we typically do it on Wednesday.
Okay.
So you say in 2023 you want to do payroll on your end?
Correct.
Correct.
Back the way it was done before.
So was it like two and a half years ago, two and a half years ago, you signed something that says a penalty or anything? Is
When I looked,
nothing signed at that time? No.
we looked back, and this is what we were able to find. I don't recall signing any kind of contract, any kind of penalty. I mean, the reality is, no matter, given the amount that we're talking about, even if there was like a buyout, walk away, I could sit here and make a legitimate argument that we could pay the full cost of this, and we would, and still walk away and still be doing the right thing, because of the fact of how inefficient it is with the hours that Brian spends every single payroll dealing with this.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I won't know what their intention is until I get the response from, I mean, they're not gonna be happy, they're gonna lose a client. But I told them from the
Aren't getting the
beginning, this
service.
is all about what the
It didn't work
trustees
out.
want. And if the trustees say, walk away, I walk away.
Yeah.
And it makes it easy for me, because I can go to him and say, hey, trustees voted, we're walking away. You know, I throw it on you guys, you throw it on me, and that, you know.
I don't have a problem with you taking it back and doing it in-house. I mean, you know, we were trying to help you out in the first place.
Yeah.
To make your life easier, and it's not making your life easier, and we're paying money to make your life not easier, so why do it?
And I should have started with that. And I really appreciate it. I mean, you know, we were in a bad spot, and I think everybody understood it. And, you know, and I appreciate the effort we all put into it. It's just not working.
Yeah.
I can tell you this: if the trustees agree, if there's no objection from the trustees to what I'm asking to do, then I can also tell you I won't pay anything more than what I'm talking about to them without coming to you all first, you know, at the next meeting. They've been working on payroll since the middle of November.
Do you
So
know how
that's why I
much?
say implementation fee in 3 months is the time that they've been working on it. They've put in effort and work. We can't say we're not paying you for, you know, the time and effort that you've put in. And that's why I think that's fair.
Do you have a total like for that we could put that into motion? Like, well, we'll pay.
Yeah,
up to
well,
this
it would
much?
be, the implementation fee is $855. Every month is approximately $296, like $300. So, you know, we're
36.
talking about, like $1,800.
There hasn't been anything signed that obligates us long-term, any period of time to use their service?
It was a while ago. I looked back. We couldn't find anything. I mean, that's what I was asking Brian. We couldn't find anything related to that. We had these documents. They actually had changed their quote, and he keeps sending me things to sign that I won't sign, because I kind of had a feeling this was coming. And you know, like I actually have an email in my inbox from him just this morning, like kind of like now how they do loan documents nowadays. Like, here, sign this. There's plenty of those that I have not signed. I certainly haven't signed anything related to when this general ledger fee came up. I mean, I was angry. I was saying, there's no way I'm signing that, because that really wasn't what we talked about. It felt like bait and switch to me.
Well, my thought is, I was a fiscal officer for almost 8 years. I used UAN, and before that, I dealt with ADP, and I thought UAN was as good as ADP. ADP was a payroll service company.
Mm-hmm.
So I think myself I don't have any problem in going back to UAN, because I know the payroll automatically go into the accounting, and I was very happy with UAN. So
I like the reports that they generate. I mean, when you guys, and I'm still finding, new useful, capabilities and reports that are in there. Brian is as well. I mean, you guys ask for specific types of reports. I mean, we can pull them up so fast because everything's all integrated so well. I can also say their support has been fantastic, and UAN's support. I mean, they work directly, for the auditor's office. Specifically, the report guy Tony, who we've used as the visiting clerk function when we can talk to him after hours. Specifically with our issues, and he's intimately familiar with our situation now, and he's been great. He's been worth, for what we paid him for per hour. I mean, the value that we got from him, there's no way to quantify it.
Yeah. So you're wanting to entertain a motion that we quit Paylocity and not to spend a certain amount of money?
Up to so much or something.
Up to 1,800.
Okay, I'll move that.
You sure 1,800 covered what you needed? I mean, it's not going to be.
Well, I haven't talked to Ross until I talked to you guys. What I'm telling you is that represents 3 months worth of monthly fees and the implementation fee, which I think is fair. I'm just telling you that's what I think is fair. They may say, no, it needs to be this percentage of it. And what I'm saying is,
No,
I
if it's
wouldn't.
over that, you have to come back before us to pay it.
Exactly.
There you
I
go.
won't do anything above that, whatever you guys move, without your blessing.
Okay.
I second it.
Roll call.
Hyam,
Yes.
Lohman,
Yes.
Heiss.
Yes.
I distributed the written fiscal officer's report. The only note about that is that includes what was the incomplete November bank reconciliation as well as the December bank reconciliation.
Okay.
And the only issue really is the that bank fraud thing that's been kind of month to month. I appreciate your guys' time.
Just want to add something, going back to the audit, just so the township trustees know. Wayne Baston called me last month. Typically, I am requested to write a letter to the auditor about the affairs of the township over the year. All he wanted to know from me at that conversation was whether the township was involved in litigation, and I said no, but didn't ask for a letter. But I wanted the trustees to know that I had that discussion with them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's something that he has to. It's a line item that he puts in the report for the audit.
Well, if something come up, this would be a new period, wouldn't it? I mean, if something come up now, that would be.
Oh,
on
yeah,
a
this
new-
is for
that'd be a new
past,
period.
yeah, right.
So what you said should
It's
be okay.
typically as of the date of this letter.
Right.
This is the condition, but it was done in a phone call.
Yeah, you should be okay now.
One thing I should also probably say about that is part of what you received in your box was Wayne did an investigation and a response based upon a member of the public that had made some kind of concern or complaint via email, I guess, and that was part of that document as well. I can tell the trustees, I never knew about that. I think it was back in 2019. But I don't recall, even in the time, because my term started shortly after that, I don't recall hearing anything related to that.
Who move out? Who out of township?
Okay. I'm just saying, I don't
who
even
moved?
remember hearing any requests for evidence or documents related to that. Some of the complaints were valid. I mean, and those are addressed in the report, but I just want to let you know, that was much news to me as it was to you guys probably.
Yeah. No, he move out. He came to our meetings. I don't know how many different times and complained. So I don't know if he came after I left or not.
No.
So,
I think he moved right after.
yeah, he moved.
Came on.
And on the west side of Hamilton County, I believe. So
And that's truly all I have. Thank you.
that's why you don't hear anything.
Just one thing I want to let the trustees know and Harry know. I've written the last check, and you guys signed the last check to Hinson Roofing. And I contacted Jonathan Hines, who was, I guess, the person that came out to give us the bid and all the work. We have not mailed that last check to them. I had contacted him because one of Harry's guys went up and looked at the roof and thought there were some things that, not being a roofer, he didn't think were right. And I called Jonathan. He was supposed to call me back the week of like Christmas.
Right.
I've not heard from him. He's not been paid, so.
I was gonna bring that up in old business. So.
Okay, I'm sorry, but so you know that they haven't received their final check, so.
Okay.
Okay.
I wondered about that because
Yeah, they haven't,
You want one of us to contact
Yeah,
him, or you want to contact him again?
well, they don't have their money, so.
They'll
Well-
contact us eventually. He'll want his
Give me
money.
the phone number, I'll contact him.
Okay,
Because
I'll
I
give it
think
to
I
you.
contacted him before.
Because he was, because I know you and Doug had said you'd go up there with him.
Yeah.
And Bruce was the one that,
Bruce went up there, but I never went up
Yeah.
there to see what Bruce.
We were gonna meet him here.
Yeah,
So-
right, he never showed up. Okay,
I'll get you his number.
okay, I'll get it.
Zoning.
We had three permits issued last December, one for a deck, one for an accessory building, and one for a new residence. I've had a request from the BZA if the trustees would consider an increase in the compensation per meeting. To think about it. They're on a 1099, correct?
Well, they typically don't get to the threshold, but yeah,
I mean, there's no taxes withheld, correct?
right.
All right. Just, would you consider it? And also, Bruce Downer's not here anymore, and he used to take care of the phones from Verizon. And my phone is starting to give me some problems, and I don't know if we've got a contact person here in the township who handles the phones, the Verizon phones.
Bruce still works part-time for the fire department, and he is still the contact for those phones.
I guess, I was just talking to Brian, and he was going to review the Verizon contract. And some of the contracts say you can get a new phone if you continue with them. And he was going to review it and see.
How old's your phone?
About 13 years old.
Well, they'll give you a new phone.
They were paying.
I would email Bruce Downard or call him. I've got the phone number for you in email.
If you'd give me that, then. And that's all I have.
One thing I was wanting to know, Prius is down there across from Scherzinger now. They opened up a new facility back there. Well, at least they put their sign up now, and they put a new driveway in.
I saw that.
I'm sure that's a non-conforming use, but they're piling broken up concrete and stuff back there the way it looks. They're using it as a landfill. That's what it appears.
I'll contact the county on that because I drove by. And
Yeah.
I saw them doing the same thing. And they're the ones who I have to contact for them to come out and take a look at it.
Okay,
I'm going to handle it that way.
all right.
Where was that again, Dennis?
Right across from Scherzinger, you got Floyd Brown's business. It's got the track hose behind it, and then you go down the road, you got Abe Alvis right there, and then you go down one more driveway, and Prius opened up a new driveway so they didn't have to go through Alvis's, I would assume. And they're starting back there, and it was all mined for gravel and then other stuff, but they're using it. It looks like they're broken concrete starting to pile up back there and stuff, and Prius is in that kind of work. So I just didn't want it to turn into something we didn't want.
I'll contact Pruitt and see what's going on with it, let them know.
They can't dump it at Rumpke there anymore.
Because
Yeah, I don't know whose property that is, and that's floodplain. And if they're changing the use of the property, well then, they haven't contacted you evidently.
no, I knew about it,
Yeah,
and I wondered what they were doing. So apparently they're dumping.
that's what it looks like to me. I mean, I'm going up and down the road hauling grain, so.
All right.
Thanks, Rick. Old business, Mr. Hyab.
All right, all the exterior works on the old town hall is complete. We got a new roof, gutters, and the bottom of the building has been stabilized. So I'm thinking we'll paint the hall sometime this summer. And Harry's got a airless painter, so we'll put to use over there. We'll probably have to scrape it, and so we'll get that done this summer, and then it'll look good. And then they're gonna still push us, if they get a grant, we go through this stuff and they get a grant, the floor is rotted down on the joists around the outside because the beam was weathered. And I don't know if we're responsible for that or not. I'll have to reread the contract. I know we were responsible for the outside, but that's on the inside. So if they get a grant, well then they'll take care of it, and they don't get a grant, they'll come back and complain. So I'll reread the contract to see what our stipulations are. I tried to contact Todd Gadbury with Hamilton County Engineer about, they were supposed to send a contract here for us to sign on the Fort Scott Road project. Never heard back from him. I just contacted him Monday. The day's Monday. I contacted him Friday. So it being New Year's and everything else, they probably didn't get it, so I'll still get on that. Got that done. That's it for old business.
Me, the only thing I had was the roof, and Brian brought that up, so we'll just wait to hear for checking that out. Chuck?
I got none.
New business, Dennis?
I guess, Alan, would you be the guy that we would lean on for getting a sexual harassment policy for the township?
Yes, I would be, and I think we could probably use the Township Association would probably help us
Sure.
with a plan.
Why
Yeah.
create a new one when somebody else would have a
Right,
boilerplate?
exactly.
So we need to get that.
All right.
Sometimes the Ohio Attorney General has template policies for stuff like that.
Okay.
We've leaned on them before.
All right, and then I was talking to Alan. I was talking to Bill Weisbrot. He's the guy that owns the property underneath the old town hall, and I was talking to him as the old town hall was getting finished up. And he said that he would not, since the Historical Society told me they couldn't get a grant unless they had ownership of the building. Right now, the township has ownership of the building, so Bill Weisbrot said he didn't have a problem with us giving the building back to him and then him giving the building to the Historical Society with the condition that if the Historical Society disbanded, that the property would revert to the township and not back to him. So he would be giving us possession of the property. And if there would potentially be a tax write-off, which wouldn't be much because that's a very small piece of property, but Alan was going to look into that and just to bring you guys up onto that. And then
So he only technically owns the property,
he owns
not
the property
building.
underneath.
But if you sign it to him and then he signs it back, then he can write off the value of the building?
Right off the value of the property underneath the building.
But
as
not the
a
building.
donation, if they're a 503, whatever.
503C3.
Yeah,
But we have to give him the building and then he would donate it back? Is that
Well, we're
what you
just
said?
rotating the property back. Right now,
He
we,
would donate it to the Historical Society.
I know, but then he could write off the value of the building then?
no, he could only write off the value of the property. Right now, huh?
He doesn't own the building.
But he will.
He will temporarily, according, oh, I thought you said that we would,
The deed has us with the building.
correct.
We have to get the deed back to him so he can give the property to the Historical Society.
So that would include the building then?
Well, we own the building, but right now, the deed is to us. The property is to us, and
Right.
in the building we own, we're gonna give the building to the Historical Society,
Through him.
and through, it has to be, everything's gotta be done so that they own it. And they're gonna have the property underneath of
So then
it. So
when-
he's willing to give us the property underneath of it
Correct.
in order for them to be able to get a grant.
So then once they get the building and that, then we are no longer responsible for taking care of the building then?
Well, you could,
Correct.
look at that way. Yeah.
You wouldn't need a lease. You wouldn't be responsible for the structural repairs. The only thing that you would do is charity. I mean, just like if you're just helping a guy out, basically.
So- Right, we'll have to see how this all works out, but he's gonna work on that. So, and then the only other thing I have on new business is right now, the fire department auxiliary does not exist, but the fire department auxiliary bank account does exist. And according to Bruce Downard, he would like to see it converted over to a township account, because right now Brenda has free take of everything that's in the account.
No,
How is it?
there are two accounts. The fire auxiliary was started for the fish fries
Right,
and stuff like that back in the volunteer days. Back in 06, 07, when we started the reindeer romp, the race, and buying gifts for the needy families in our township, we created another account strictly for that particular thing. That's where donations came in for the race, and for the gifts went into that account. So they were two totally separate accounts.
okay,
And that's what Brenda has access for.
is that
now,
account?
Is the gifts, because the reindeer romp is no longer, but the gifts are. We do that every year for the families. Our account, because the fish fries are no longer, our house fund goes into that.
Okay,
We use that for our house fund and stuff like that.
okay, so that's where I did.
So I'm being educated. What's the problem?
There's two, well,
How much is in the accounts?
couple $1,000s from what I understand.
For both accounts?
No.
In Brenda's account. Our account, it fluctuates because we rely on that house fund check.
Right. So it's the account that Brenda has that she uses, that is the one that's in limbo.
No.
No, the account that she has is strictly for the gifts for the
The
Kringle chest.
Kringle chest every year.
Yes.
Right, but who has, it's not a township account.
Correct.
It's an account that's out there. Who's legally responsible for it?
Whose tax ID number is on the account?
Don't know that answer.
According to Bruce, he would like to see it put in as a township account so that somebody has oversight on it, because right now, it's Brenda's the only one that's got oversight on it, and she's not really a legal entity if it's part of a township function.
Is she the only signatory on that account?
Her and Bruce Downard, I guess.
Find out what the tax ID number they're using is.
But Bruce told me he'd like to see that.
And he's just talking about that one account.
Yeah, that
That's
one
the only
account.
you wanna do.
I assumed I didn't know there was two accounts.
Okay.
So we need to get that cleaned up.
Can I make one comment on that? I would prefer that it not be a township account. And if there's a problem with how it's situated, as far as the nonprofit entity signatories or whatever, that we deal with the situation that way. Because, I like to keep the township accounts where we get revenues into our accounts via,
Tax base.
normal tax streams and sometimes grants. We're not a charitable entity.
Okay.
We're a government
separate.
entity.
That's what this was. This was all donations and charities
Yeah.
for the reindeer romp.
All
That's-
those names I mentioned.
That's why it should not be a township account.
So maybe they set up a separate tax ID number as a charitable organization.
They did, and the problem is
Probably with the reindeer romp.
they're probably supposed to have their own board and officers and such to,
Not there.
yeah, they're probably, it's happened so long ago, there's probably a lot of them that are no longer living, some that are no longer around. Yeah,
Well,
I think
I
that's,
don't want it.
oh, yeah, I don't think we
Okay.
should.
Well, okay. All right. Well, that's what we need to know.
I'll get with Bruce.
Yeah, find out.
Yeah. See how that's set up. Okay.
Our only involvement, so with the house fund for the fire, for that check, that's their own money though. It's withheld before, it comes in just as, that's after we pay their paychecks, basically.
Yeah. Okay.
I really don't know how old that account is. I don't think it's that old, 15, 20 years maybe.
I think our
06.
first reindeer romp was a 07 or 08, 06, 07, 08.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
I have nothing. Chuck?
I got none.
And then other concerns, the only thing I have,
Yeah, I got one. Did you guys set a date up for the cleanup days?
Yeah. We did at the planning meeting.
I know, I've had the wrong date. Sorry.
does he have you have the right date now?
I think it's May 6th and 7th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When is it? May 6th?
First full weekend in May.
6th and 7th.
Okay.
Week before Mother's Day.
And one other thing, what do I have to do to see about raises for the guys? You have to go into executive session and?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it on your note here. I was going to bring it up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew tonight was going to be a big night.
So I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss wages.
I move we go into executive session to discuss wages.
I second it.
Roll call.
Hi,
Yes.
Bowman.
Yes.
Ice.
Yes.
Roll call.
Hi,
Yes.
Loman.
Yes.
Heis.
Okay, I'm gonna
Go ahead.
start with the easy stuff first. I'm gonna move that we pay the BZA and the zoning commission $35 a meeting effective January 1st.
Do I have a second? Roll call.
Hi,
Yes.
Loman.
Yes.
Heis.
I'm gonna move that we start paying our maintenance supervisor beginning the first of the year, $2,000 a month in salary.
Second. Roll call.
Hi,
Yes.
Loman.
Yes.
Heis.
Slow down a little bit, give them time to write all that down.
I'm still up there. I'm just doing okay. I'm doing. That's not shorthand, but it's chicken scratch.
Scribble hand.
That's why I made a couple of clerical errors on the minutes this month. All right, next.
Are we ready? Okay. I move that we increase our maintenance personnel, our part-time maintenance personnel to $17 an hour, and to pay them time and a half for snow removal,
Starting
beginning
the
the first pay period, which is what?
starting this Thursday.
Starting on the 12th.
Starting the 12th of January,
Yep.
2023.
Second for that. Roll call.
Hyam,
Yes.
Lohman,
Yes.
Heiss.
He's got him line. He got the complicated one there.
Okay,
Sort of.
I move that we increase our full-time firefighter medics and fire lieutenants $3 an hour.
Does that include the one or?
And then and then all of the officers would be paid the same amount. Is that correct, Chief?
All fire lieutenants will be paid the same.
All fire lieutenants,
And that was starting on the 8th.
Starting on January 8th.
January 8th? Okay, starting January the 8th, 2023.
Do I have a second? Roll call.
Hyam,
Yes.
Lohman,
Yes.
Heiss.
Our next regular business meeting will be February 13th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Do I have a move for adjournment?
So moved. Waiting for Chuck to jump on that one, but evidently Chuck's not ready to go home yet.
Roll call.
Hyam,
Yes.
Lohman,
Yes.
Heiss.
9:57 p.m.
Looks good to me.